or not bonus, the last class of this series. We do have we had a bonus class earlier in the Facebook group, and we have a bonus class tomorrow in our Facebook group. So you want to make sure you grab them. Tomorrow's bonus class is at 11. We have many things happening in the Facebook group. So I don't know if you're not in the Facebook group, you want to go to kissyourstrugglesgoodbye.com, and that will bring you to our Facebook group. I'm putting it here. So if you want to. So today is all about how does your daily talk impact your life? And I know that what's CM mean? I know that being aware of your self-talk is super important and very valuable. You want to learn be tuned in to what you're saying. And we talked a lot about that on Tuesday when we started the class. It's all about the power of tuning in. So if you're unable to tune in to yourself, you cannot fully understand what's going on in your energy field, what's going on in your mindset, what's going on in your world. So today I want to share with you some super powerful tools to tune into where you're at. And when you do tune into where you're at, these tools will help you raise your frequency. Where you are at in your life, where you are vibrating, where you are energetically, where you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that is what you're pulling in and attracting into your life. So today we'll go through our process today, and today is really about learning 3 powerful tools to switch your energy at any given time, to become super aware of your self-talk and switch your energy around, your language around, and where you're focused around, so that you can begin to attract different things in your life. And I want to share with you, I really want to start off today sharing with you someone that came to me in a 4-day challenge, or I think it was 5-day, something similar, but actually quite different. And she came to me feeling hopeless, super negative self-talk, didn't know where or how. She had been unemployed for, I think, a year when she met me. She didn't have a job. She didn't have an income. She was living off her credit card debt, or credit cards, creating debt, and really didn't know what she was going to do to move forward in her life. And I did an interview with her a few months back, and I just wanted to share her interview so that you can hear and understand the power of what you are learning this week. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you see Kaylee in the orange? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Well, hello, welcome today. I have a special guest. As you can see, Kaylee's with me today, and today we're talking about stretching yourself beyond what you think you can do, stretching yourself beyond what you think your possibilities are, and really opening up your perspective to what you get to step into. And we've had a great week talking about your emotions, talking about tuning in, talking about re-identifying yourself and your self-talk. And Kaylee came to me actually about a year ago, maybe just not quite a year ago, right? And went through something similar to this, a little bit different. And I know that she stretched herself. She stretched herself in showing up. She stretched herself in participating and putting herself out there and taking the leaps of faith. And so welcome, Kaylee. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. First, thank you for coming on today. I really, really appreciate you and your time. And I've loved watching you grow over this past year. And I would just, want to ask you is how has stretching yourself this past year with showing up for the 4-day mini course and then stretching yourself to invest in Fear to Freedom and then stretching yourself in the course. How has that helped you?
It's helped me in so many ways. I think the scariest thing, I think, when we're going through a lot of stuff is letting go or giving up control. And it's amazing that once you give up the control and be open to a new way of thinking, how much control that actually gives you, right? Kind of felt trapped. And so I felt like I'd tried everything, done everything, and I felt trapped in my own life. Like I couldn't get better. I use this metaphor. I'm really thirsty. The glass of water is within arm's reach, and I literally can't will myself to pick it up. Which sounds crazy, but literally that's where I was. So where it's helped me now is I have this set of tools that gives me permission to be freer. I've taken on a new job in the last 9 months. It's an incredibly stressful job. And as much as that's stressful, it's in its place. And I've never felt better. I've been in these kinds of jobs before where I can't sleep, I can't eat, I'm stressed all the time. I've literally learned how to find that balance I was always looking for. So it doesn't mean I don't have stressful days, don't have bad days, but my self-talk is more positive. I stopped putting those rules on myself. I give myself a break. And it took me almost, I'm almost 50 years old to get to that point. And I feel like a new person. I just feel lighter. I feel more capable. And even though things are stressful, that doesn't define me anymore. That's just a thing I deal with. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense for sure.
But that's where I am. I feel so much lighter, and I have these positive discussions with myself because I have something really big going on, and it's kind of a sad thing. At the same time, it's like, but I literally get to do this. And I couldn't have dreamt I'd even be in the situation to have this problem. So in context, it's still a really good thing. And I didn't know I could feel that way.
Right.
So I feel so much lighter and so much more capable. I also know what my limits are, and I know how to set boundaries. I didn't know the word boundaries a year ago. Obviously we know the word, but I didn't know it in that context. And now I know how to manage my happiness. I know how to keep peace for myself. And I allow that to be so. I stopped doing for everybody else at my own expense. And I found a way to still do that now, but take care of myself first.
Yes. And then showing up for others is completely a different experience, right?
Right. It's not this frenetic stress thing. I took care of myself, and now I can be supportive. I think I used the analogy with you before. It's like when you're on the airplane, they say, put your mask on first and then you can help others. I feel like I'm there now. Like that's what I've done and I continue to do and work on. I've put my own oxygen mask on and now I can help others. But I don't have to help others and I don't have to do it at my own expense or the way I used to.
It's a beautiful thing. So I want to take us back to a year ago when you went through a 4-day course or challenge or something, or maybe it was 5 days or what, I don't quite remember. But I know that you had some thoughts around Fear to Freedom, and you were a little bit skeptical.
And totally skeptical.
And completely honest. Can you just share part of your skepticism? I think that's really important, because even though you had this skepticism, you still stretched yourself. You still gave yourself permission to be curious. So
yeah, and at the risk of offending you, because I was very honest with you, I said this feels like happy horseshit, like incense burning hippie things, and like we're talking about chakras. I'm like, really? And like third eyes are going to come out of this, and I'm like, there's just no way. I'm very type A. I'm very, I'm very skeptical, and what allowed me to consider this is after a few days, it was one of those 4 or 5 day challenge things. For the first time in any time that I could actually remember, I had hope, and I'd forgotten what it felt like to be hopeful. I'm gonna cry. hopeful about the future, like what could happen. So I joke about it, but like that's where I was. I was not in a good place. I'd come off like I was still going through a whole lot of things that happened at once. I'm like, my life was like 10 country songs, the old kind, not the fun new kind. It was like 10 country songs rolled into one. And I had no energy to even think about what could be. I was living in my own mess mentally, and I didn't have any hope. So I'm like, well, I got to the point like, what do I have to lose? So you gave me hope. And even after a couple of days, and it was like, a couple of hours of time, you gave me a hope that I don't know that I've had even as a child. And I had to part my own judgment aside for a minute, recognize humbly, I don't know everything. And maybe I could learn something from this. Maybe not everything. Maybe I don't believe everything. But I allowed myself to like, let's see what happens.
And having that hope and stretching yourself, because I know we talked and then you were like, you know what, I can't do this, and then I said, I don't remember the exact conversation. And then I said, let's reconnect in a day. I told you to do something or think or.
You did, you gave me an exercise to do and something clicked that said, I just have to give this up to possibilities. I have to stop trying to, I'm in a bad place. I didn't determine how I got here, but I'm not going to get out of it unless I shift the dynamic. And I've never been one to be like, I'm a victim, I'm a survivor, or any of this other stuff. Those things make me very, very uncomfortable. And I do want to be in control, but I had gotten to the point where I felt so out of control that I needed to control more to keep bad things from happening. So I really had to do the complete opposite and be open and just see what happens. And that's very vulnerable, especially for someone like me. It made me feel very vulnerable, but it was the best decision I ever made for myself. Wow. I stand by that. Awesome. I can't believe that I'm here today, a year later. I can't believe it.
Yeah. And I mean,
doesn't mean I'm perfect. Not every day's perfect, but I am a new and improved version of myself that I couldn't have seen.
That's amazing. Oh, it touches my heart so much.
I know it's hard for me to talk about. I'll get choked up, but I'm so grateful. I really am.
Yeah. And I always say our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings dictate our reality. It dictates what shows up in our life. And I know when we met, you were searching and searching and searching for a job and trying to find your way and all of that. And just a few months of doing some inner work, you landed a job that you're enjoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I'm back doing the work that I love, and they agree. Back doing the work that I love, and it's very, very fulfilling in a way that even my work wasn't before. So I'm part of that. The place I am, they recognize things in me that I always knew were in me, but other people couldn't see. So I'm definitely freer and lighter, even though I have a lot of responsibility and I've dealt with all the other stuff that was all happening. It was just a confluence of events. And I got to the point where I just was struggling to find the strength to keep going.
And somebody that's listening today that's on the fence of filling out an application or booking a call to become part of Fear of Freedom, what would you say to them?
Just, you don't even have to have an open mind, just have an open heart. Like, what do you want? What do you want to be different? How do you, if you could write out who you are a year from now, like me, what would that be? So you don't have to think about that. What does your heart want for you or your family? Because you really have to help yourself first. And if that's a very different picture from where you are today, then I'd say schedule a conversation and just see what the possibilities are. I couldn't have imagined this for myself. I really couldn't at all. And I continue to admire you, Brenda, as a leader in your craft, and continue to see more and more possibilities for growth. I'm just amazed. So if what you want for yourself in your heart, you don't have to change how you think about anything, because gosh knows I struggle with that, is different from where you are today, it's worth a discussion.
Mm. But you're a beautiful person, and I
Thank
am
you.
honored and to have worked with you and continue to work with you. Um, thank you for taking time today
Of
and being
course.
here. And you listening, go ahead. Apply. So Kaylee shift her life completely, shift her daily talk, took a leap of faith because she felt hope for the first time. She felt that she needed to do something different. She listened to her head. And I thought it was pretty fantastic that she said, and I would love to hear what you heard her say. She said she had to let go and give up control and not allow the rules that she placed on her life. I always pull a card for each class. This is the card I put, willing release. And it says, you must let go and see what transpires. This isn't always easy. Impatience erodes the foundation of your trust in the divine. Surrendering truly will serve your highest good. Knowing this truth in your heart, can that really be so difficult? So let yourself go. Trust your heart. Your heart always leads you in the direction to your highest good. And when I say trust your heart, it doesn't mean that when you follow your heart, it's the easiest decision. Quite honestly, it's not always the same. When you're following your heart, you're actually thinking outside that box. You all remember the box you made? When you're that's the ego. The ego puts you in the box. When you step outside of your heart, outside of the heart, and you follow outside of the box and you follow your heart, resistance is there. And that means that it could be challenging to move through. It could be hard to move through. And it reminds me of a story of someone I know years ago. She was in a management position and she wanted to date one of her employees. And her employee, which was illegal in her company, like against policies. And in her management position, she was a six-figure earner. But her heart wanted to date this person and she didn't know what to do. And she decided that she was going to follow her heart and leave her job. And she left her job and she had the most amazing relationship for about 4 months. And after 4 months, they broke up and she left her job. And I'm sharing this because following your heart may not always look like the right direction. It might look like you're making the wrong decision, or it's very vulnerable or uncomfortable or impossible. That stepped her outside of her comfort zone. She didn't end up in that relationship. In fact, that person is now married. But what happened was it actually put her on her spiritual path. She became a spiritual healer. She was put on a path that moved her across the country. And she is living her most authentic, beautiful, gifted life. And I think one of her most recent posts said she is the most comfortable that she's ever been in her body, in her life, in her world by following her heart. So following your heart doesn't mean it's just going to be like the yellow brick road, like everything's going to be easy peasy. Following your heart it's been locked up for how long? It's uncomfortable. It's uncertain. It's unclear. But when you do that, you put yourself on the fastest lane for growth, expansion, and happiness. So for those that are watching the recording, because I know you all here know me, my name's Brenda Kiss, and I am a transformative Neuro Reiki master where I help you release doubt, overthinking, stress, and overwhelm to truly come into your place of your heart, to live a life of joy, of passion, of love, of inspiration, so that you can truly manifest the things that you want in your life with ease and grace. And I want to share that after doing work like this for a week, I see a lot of patterns. That's my job. That's what I do. I look at people and I see patterns in their life. And what I see a pattern is people go through a process like this, they get these quick results and they think that they're great, they're on their way, they're doing things. And I want you to realize that you had transformation, you made new pathways this week, but you have to solidify them by doing continuous work, by continuously showing up for yourself, by moving forward. The moment, the moment so The moment you receive an offer to do something to move you forward, like you all received an offer to move towards fear or freedom, the moment you do that, guess what happens? Your box thinking comes back, because all of a sudden you won something, but it's like, oh, is that possible? How is that possible? I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't know how it's going to be. And then you start thinking in that limitation. 100% is possible 100% of the time. Yeah, you're supposed to be here, Darby. 100% is possible 100% of the time, all the time. And I know this to be true because I've seen it over and over with the women that I work with myself, with my children, with my family. And, I want to share one more story with you because I just feel like it's so important to hear from people just like you, just like where you are, where you were at. And the woman I'm about to share with you, I have known for years. I've known for years, and she was hiding herself. She was scared to be her. I'll let her share her story, but I see where she was, of this uncertain person with self-doubt, with self-criticism. So she is doing her thing. She's released 30 some pounds. She's created her business. She's putting herself out there, and she was scared. You'll hear her story. Let me see. Here we go. And, I think it's one thing to make a commitment to yourself and really do the work, and it's another to share your experience with others. So thank you, and realize that this is also a growth for you as well. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm honored to be here.
So, when you went through this 4-day challenge, what part of you realized that you know what, I'm going to put that application in?
Well, when I went through the 4-day challenge, I was kind of at a point in my life where I was just like, something's got to happen. Something's got to give. And I learned so much in how to, like, some tools just by going through the 4-day challenge that had helped me in that short amount of time. Awesome. So I decided, let me put in this application and see where it goes.
And were you scared to apply?
I was very scared to apply. I didn't know what to expect at all.
Right. And so after doing the application, there was a phone part, there's a form that you fill out, and then there's a phone conversation that happens with the application. And when we set up the phone call and we did the phone call, and I know this is going back a few months now, but what are some of the things that you remembered that were like, just the phone call alone gave you, perspective and awareness and insight?
Well, the one thing that I remember, I don't remember our whole conversation. I know we were on the phone for a while, but I felt very heard and seen by you just in that short amount of time. And you explained to me on the phone call that what the challenge that I was dealing with was learning how, like, what love is, how to be loved. And that kind of, it really struck a chord with me. And it was like, oh, like, yeah, this is something that I've been dealing with forever. I didn't know, like, I couldn't put my finger on what the issue was.
Right. Well, I'm so glad you got that just in the conversation. And so through the conversation and through your decision-making process, were you scared? Like, speak into that a little bit, because I feel like that holds a lot of people back, right? Like they go through this challenge and they really get so excited, not just excited, they actually start to see change. And then it's like, oh, I got to take another step. Oh my gosh, what? I don't know if I could do that one. And it's okay wherever you're at, but like, how did you overcome that you said you were scared to fill out the application. You were scared to have the conversation. How did you overcome that?
Well, I mean, for me, something in me, in my gut, was just like telling me to keep pushing forward, like keep pushing, just go through with it, see where it goes. And I was scared, like I was petrified of the price. um, I just didn't know how I was going to do it, and part of me right away was like, nope, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do this for myself.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, I got like this feeling, and I was like, if I don't do this, then how am I ever going to move forward?
Mm.
And right then and there, I was like, I have to do this. I'll figure it out along the way.
Awesome. And with that commitment to yourself, with that following, that trusting, that inner guidance, that your soul or your intuition or your gut, however you want to say it, by following that, how has your decision to take care of you, to step up and really put yourself first and to start to process and heal things and shift things, how has that impacted your life already?
Gosh. I mean, it's impacted it a lot. Not to say that I don't still, doubt things, but I feel more like I can when the doubt comes up, I can let those things go and just know that I'm more trusting. I have more faith and trust in knowing that things are going to work out the way that they are meant to for me.
That's awesome. To be able to step into that trusting, into that knowing, into that just, some people call it surrender, just surrendering to the process of life. And prior, where was your thought process? Like, you're saying you're trusting here and you have this sense of knowing and you're following your intuition, but where were you before you started? And I know you're only a few weeks in, maybe 13, not even quite 13 weeks in.
Almost,
yeah, into the program. Where were you before?
I was like a frightened little girl. That's what it felt like. I was just scared that I was never going to see like the light of day, never going to get to a point where I felt like I was going to be able to move forward, or just get past all of the unhappiness, the stuckness. I felt hopeless.
Wow. From hopeless to trusting in less than 13 weeks. I mean, that's freaking amazing, I have to say. Pat yourself on the back for stepping up and doing the work. Yes, awesome, awesome. So I would like you to share to someone that's gone through the challenge and wanting to fill out that application but hasn't filled it out. What words of wisdom could you share with them from your perspective of being in their shoes just a few weeks ago, months ago?
Well, I would say that even if you're scared to go through the application process and the phone call, to feel the fear and do it anyway. Go through it, see what happens, see what comes up for you. Talk to Brenda, because even in that phone call, even if it's just a phone call and you don't move forward or whatever, you're going to receive so much healing in that alone. But really listen to your gut, listen to your heart and what it's telling you, because fear is going to come up. It always does. It's trying to comfort you. It's ego. That's how I look at it. It's ego just coming up saying, I'm trying to protect you. But sometimes that gets in the way of your growth and your healing. And that's what was coming up for me. And if I didn't listen to that and if I didn't push past that, I would not be on the road that I'm in now. Yes, it's work, but it's worth it. The work is worth it. And I mean, just in less than 13 weeks, I feel like a totally different person. I still have more work to do, but the change in me is amazing in that short amount of time. So I'm just go for it.
That's awesome. And what's really, really cool, Cheryl, just to give you perspective. So what's the theme that you're hearing? We've been talking about this all week. What is the theme you are hearing for yourself? Both girls have different stories, but they both said the same thing. Anybody recognize it? They said, fear will come up, let it go. It will always be there. Push past your fear. Yeah, Sherry. And listen to your heart. I'm going to ask you, beliefs are things that you tell yourself that you choose to believe. And beliefs could be empowering or they can be disempowering, just like you learned this week. So what do you get to believe now to help yourself to move forward? What belief do you get to enroll yourself in? Cheryl enrolled herself into faith, trust, knowing, and surrendering. What beliefs are you enrolling yourself in? Are you back into I can't, timing's not right, this isn't for me, I don't know if I can do it? What beliefs are you enrolling yourself in? So no matter where you are, you get to choose, and you get to choose whatever you feel is going to serve you best. And today, let's talk about how your daily self-talk impacts your life. And so your daily self-talk impacts your life. And I'm going to give you resources today to shift your thoughts. So who here is still using their pattern interrupt? Yeah, stop the fear. Absolutely, stop the fear. Who's using your, like, these little tools that you've learned this week, tuning in, the exercises that I gave you on Monday, the pattern interrupt and thinking outside the box, and then what you'll share today are these little tools that will continue to compound if you continue to use them. So if you haven't, recommit to using your tools that you've been experiencing. So your self-talk comes from an experience. So you have an experience and you develop a self-talk from that. Meaning someone says something and all of a sudden you have an experience and interpretation, and then you develop a message for yourself. And that message could be empowering or disempowering. You begin to program your mind. And here's what's fascinating to me. We have a reptilian brain, and the reptilian brain is all about finding the problem, surviving, being in survival mode. And so we will always look for what's wrong until you train your brain to look for what's right. And so when we have an experience, we take this experience in and we start to develop self-talk from the baseline of what's wrong, what's the problem, how can I survive, right? I think of, my situation this week. It was like I was in survival mode. I was like, oh my God, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. I had to stop, plant my feet, ground myself with my breath, tune into my body, process my emotions, and ask for help from a place of groundedness. Right? If we're not, we can make a lot of interpretations. When I was a young girl, I had body image problems, and I thought I was overweight and not and always struggled with wanting to look better. And I remember my cousin telling me one day, I'm a pear shape, so I'm tinier on top, and then I have a round booty and thighs, and so my upper body has always been on the smaller side. And my cousin went up to me one day and he's like, "What's that jiggling there?" He's like, "You are so fat." Well, I developed self-talk from that. I took his words, his experience, and I started to make a dialogue in my head. And so from then on, I thought I was fat. Always had to work on tuning up my arms and tuning into my arms, right? Like trying to like, what's that called? Not tuning, toning up my arms, right? And so your self-talk happens that way. And just like our emotions, our self-talk is also an attraction factor. So we want to become super aware of what we're saying and what we're believing in. So I want to share, this training is going to be done through here. So let's just do this. The third key to creating a life you love and really stepping into your power and reclaiming who you are is really learning and listening to the words that you were saying to yourself and the words that you were saying to others, because our words leave clues. Our words have clues. And so learning different ways of speaking and the different tools will help you elevate your energy then and your emotions, and then thus whatever you're attracting into your reality. See, everything we have and everything we do has multiple perspectives. Who agrees with that? I can say one thing. I can say the sky is blue. That's my perspective. That's what I see, right? Perspective is what you see. However, you may look at the sky and say, well, it's light blue, it's dark blue, maybe it's this color blue, maybe there's white, or maybe the sun is setting and it has purple and pink, and you have a whole different way of seeing the sky because of all the experiences that you had in your life. My mom could say, or your mom could say, or someone could say, don't touch the stove. And you can think, well, I could get hurt. Something could happen. Or another person will say, well, why doesn't she want me to touch the stove? Is she trying to tell me what to do? Right? Like, it's like you interpret, you have a filter. It is called your frame of reference. And so when you have an experience, it filters through your frame of reference, and then you develop a dialogue. See, I was raised by the same parents. I'm fortunate enough to have the same my brother and my sister and I all have the same parents. Our parents have been married 60 years. That's not true. 50 plus years. I think they just celebrated their 51st anniversary in January. And my brother, myself, and I all have a different perspective. We were actually all raised Catholic, and we all have a different perspective on God and the universe. Right? We have different beliefs because we all had different experiences within our family dynamic and in our social life. Right? So let's begin today with talking about how do you get unstuck and bring more positive thoughts and energy into your life. And the way you do that is you focus on three main areas. When you're in an unresourceful state, let's think about this, an unresourceful state. Tell me some unresourceful states. Maybe it's anger, overwhelmed, depression. What are some unresourceful states that you engage in? Is it anxiousness, stress, loneliness, anger? You know, there's many unresourceful states. And so one of the things that is really apparent is that when we're in, so someone said grief, when we're in grief or we're in a state of being unhappy, our body, sadness, anxious, stress, our body does something. So just pick one of those. Like you can pick sadness, anxious, just put your body in that state. Anxiousness, sadness, boredom, scared, unhappy. Pick one, right? If you're in that state, you actually cannot think of positive thought. You are actually contracting and you are just pulling in more negative energy into you. There's no expansion, there's no openness, there's nothing to switch your emotional state. Think about a depressed person. Their shoulders around, their heads are down, and they can't they don't see anything. They're literally are looking at the ground, right? They will not get to a resourceful answer, a resourceful state, a resourceful like solution. They would never find a solution. They will only find problems when you stay in that unresourceful state. And so let's talk about the 3 areas that you get to master to really reclaim your power. And the first area is your body. And I know this may sound so simple, but if you, as you heard Kaylee talk about, like she's had the glass of water there and she couldn't get her arm over, will her arm over to pick up the water and quench her thirst. So your body is the first space, the first thing you want to bring attention to when you're in a negative self-talk, when you're in an unresourceful state, when you're in sadness or grief or boredom and all of that. Look at what your body's doing. See, there's 3 positions of the body, and the first body is energy draining, and that's all the things that you just said, like where your body's contracting. It's literally giving energy, like your energy is being sucked out of you. And then you have where your shoulders are back, and you have what's called energy neutral. Not like back, but just neutral. And that's where you're in a neutral state. And then you have an energy rich where your shoulders are back, almost like that empowerment stance I showed you. And this is where you're attracting wonderful things in your life. When you are in this state, you actually become resourceful. You actually allow yourself to open up your heart to find solutions. It's the moment you go into doubt and fear and scarcity and grief, your body literally starts to close up. Who's aware of this? Who's like, oh my gosh, as you're saying this, I see myself doing that. No? You? Oh, thank you, Darby. And so just practice, pull your arms, your shoulders back, and just pull it back and put your chin slightly up. Right? When you do that, it's so much more challenging to think a negative thought. So your body is the first key to mastering your energy, to lift yourself out. And you can do anything. You can do work on your posture that I just talked about. You can do the breath work that we just talked about. Smiling releases endorphins and makes you happy. But when you're sad or grieving or depressed or anxious, you don't want to smile. So guess what? You could put a pen in your mouth. And when you put a pen in your mouth, you become happier. It does the same thing as smiling. So just shifting your body puts you into a resourceful position so that you could actually start to see possibilities. Drop in the chat if you notice. Everybody put yourself in a depressed state, shoulders rounded, face down. And just notice how your body feels. Notice what you're thinking. And then shake that out. Shake it out. And now put your shoulders back, chin slightly up, and notice what you're feeling or thinking here. Drop in the chat what was different for you. Drop in the chat what was different for you. What did you notice differently? What did you notice differently? So as you're typing, I'll share with you some other ways to move your body is drinking water, taking a walk, having a bath. Yeah, I feel better. I felt more confident. And when you're in that state, you'll collect more positive resources. You could do dancing. You could do just breathing. Tired and drained to awake and aware. Yeah, those are all things that you get to And when you're in that, just think about when you're in this unresourceful state and you're tired and drained, you're not going to feel better. You're not going to find a solution. But the moment you become awake and aware, it's like, okay. And then you ask yourself some good questions, it's going to pull you in the right direction. Right? So your body will help you move instantly. And here's the thing. Sometimes we need to do one, sometimes we need to do two, and sometimes we need to do all three of these things that I'm sharing with you. But to work on continuously living in an elevated state, you want to really hone in on all three of these areas. So the next area that I want to share with you is your focus. What you focus on grows. What you are looking at, what you're giving energy to, what all of that is happening. What you focus on is growing. And so, are you focusing on the problems, or are you focusing on the solution? Are you focusing on finding a way to make something happen for yourself? Or are you focusing on, you don't have the resources, it's not going to work out, it's not this or whatever? Are you focusing on the potential of like, well, I can feel better, I could be better, I could do better, I could do whatever, whatever, versus are you focusing on, well, I don't know how to diet, I don't know what my body needs, I don't know this, what are you focused on? And so one of the key things, and I'll share with this here, one of the key things that we really work on to shift your focus on is learning how to ask yourself good, positive questions. Good, positive questions. And when you see yourself in I call them empowerment questions, and I'm just going to teach you a couple empowerment questions, and then you could start to formulate them on your own here. So empowering questions are going to lead you to a solution versus just bringing yourself down a rabbit hole, right? So if we're focusing on, I'll just say weight. That's near and dear to my heart. I can't lose weight. Why can't I lose weight? This weight is never going to come off. Why can't the weight? Why do I have to eat a certain way? All of that, right? And when we focus on that, we're always focusing on the problem, versus is like, how can I release weight easily and effortlessly right now? How can I become an even healthier version of me in this moment? What choice is going to empower me to feel good in my body right now? So the choices, the questions that you ask yourself, so you get to use your body, right? You put yourself in this empowerment, awake and aware state. And then you ask yourself a question is, what do I need? What's going to help me feel good in this, in this moment right now? What's serving me about this moment right now? What's the lesson I'm learning in this moment right now? The quality of your life comes down to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. So really looking into, what is it that I'm saying? What is it that I'm telling myself? What is it that I'm asking myself? And what are you focused on? So the first key is your body. The second key is focus. And the third key is communication and language, looking at your body language, looking at the words that you are saying. I used to say words like, is this really going to help me? Or how can I spend money on myself when my family needs the money? How can I justify giving myself time? Do I deserve to heal? Can someone actually really help me? I used to say all this stuff. I'm too smart to get help. Or I'm not smart enough. I said both. I'll never be skinny enough. I'll never be capable enough. I'm never making enough money. Moms aren't supposed to work. I'm not pretty. What is your current dialogue? I want you to think about, what are some common things? If you give yourself just a minute, we'll give yourself just a minute. What are the things that you say to yourself? What are the things that you say to yourself, and what are new things that you can say to yourself? What can you let go of, release, and bring in new? So I encourage you, I'm going to give you 1 minute, 2 minutes to identify what are you saying to yourself, and then rewrite them into positive statements or positive questions. And you also used to say, like, people are mean, nobody cares about me. I do for everybody else, but nobody does for me. So guess what? The universe provides those experiences. What are you saying to yourself? I'm nothing, but I am enough. I'm nothing, but I am enough. Yeah, well, we can work on not using the first part of that and say that you are enough. I am even more than I thought I was, right? I am magnificent. I am amazing. I am me. So really looking at and becoming super hyper aware. Just close your eyes for 1 minute. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Another deep breath in and out. One more deep breath together and exhale. Now I want you to think about, what was the first thing that you said to yourself this morning? And drop it in the chat. What was the first thing you said to yourself this morning? I am beautiful. I love that. Awesome. So good. I need to do this for me. I deserve it. Awesome. What was it before starting this class? I'm just curious. You guys are rocking it. That's amazing. Amazing. You know, my first words was thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe, for another day. I love it. Yeah, it's starting your day off with and just tuning in. So if you're feeling tired and exhausted throughout the day, I want you to pause and just listen. Just listen to what the dialogue is. So is it crying because you're thankful, or crying because you have stuff you want to work on, Darby? Yeah, so listen when you're in an unresourceful state, just take a breath, right? Body, take a breath, do something to change your physiology. And then just start to hear the words and just notice without judgment. Notice what you're saying and be like, "Oh, okay, this is why I'm feeling this way." And let me shift. Let me start to say some new things, some new experiences. And that's what will happen, is that you'll start to shift. So I want to share with you, let me just see something real quick. So what are the 3 areas that you get to focus on? Drop them in the chat. Three areas that you get to focus on. Well, now you know you can, Darby. What are the three areas that you get to focus on? Body, focus, and communication. There you go. Those are the keys: body, communication, and language, and focus. What are you focused on? You want to really lean into the questions you're asking yourself. What is the energy? What energy are you pouring into on all the things that aren't working, that's not going to work, all the things that are going to keep you down? Or are you watering the others? Did you ever hear about there was a plant experiment, and the plant experiment went something like, they had two of the same plants. They were watered the same, gave the same sunlight, and the same nutrients. This plant was given, I love you, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're beautiful, I got you, you're supported, you're magnificent, right? All positive things. And this plant was given, I hate you, you're ugly, I don't know why you're here, this is, why bother, life sucks, over here. And they did it for a length of time. I'm not sure the length of time, but it was the same amount of time. This plant, I love you, you're amazing, flourished. Guess what happened to this plant? Anybody know? Died. Yeah, it withered away. You are the same. You get to lift your spirit up, or you get to pull yourself down. It's a choice. It's a choice. And I want to share with you some of the one last little snippet of women that chose to lift themselves up.
The middle of nowhere, and there's not a lot of friends up here. So this is the human interaction I was craving. And I absolutely feel so accepted and so welcomed and so warmth just from everyone. We want to help each other. We want to hear your problems. We want to help you with your problems. We want to be able to feel safe expressing our own problems. And that was what I just was craving, was being able to talk to different people about different things on any different day. And you don't get that along with the respect and also honoring each other's feelings. And this was a safe place where I felt like people honored each other. And in a sacred, our feelings are sacred here. And that's what I felt like. Mm-hmm. And that's why I will always feel like this is just something you don't get every day. And that was pretty magical. Even amongst other groups I've been in, this one, it's you can feel it.
Thank you for sharing. I couldn't agree more. Alexis, how's it been for you having a sisterhood?
Honestly, it's been scary and intimidating at first for this to be so new, especially people who want to support my growth and want to support my healing. It's not something I was used to. So there was a lot of resistance at first because it's scary, but I do love the connections, other people connect, as Christine said, able to share a problem, and it's met with solution. It's met with options. It's not met with that same vibration of the problem. It's met with raised vibrations to get you to come up so that you can see the solution and the answer within you. So again, at first it was scary and intimidating, but I actually like it. It's what we need.
Yes. I would like to say in a way it's become a tool.
Yeah.
Knowing that you have a community to reach out to without judgment, and to give yourself a voice. For me, it's become a tool, and you're all saying yes, so I know it's become one for you as well. Isabel, how about for you? What is having a sisterhood like?
I'd like to compare it to another program that I was in. We had 525 members of our group. Okay, so we all came on, and there was 17 pages of Zooms of people that I could potentially meet, narrowing it down to who would be. And what we used to do is break up into pods. So we had 6 people in a pod. Knowing that anonymity was there. There were people who wanted to be my friends on Facebook, but I knew nothing about them. And yes, we all know who each other are. We know our stories from as we all drop into the lives. And the other part that's very different about this in the sisterhood, having all of these people who check in on me and say, how are you doing? Or I find out about somebody's dog being sick, and we check in on each other. We're constantly doing these things. But the other part about it is that Brenda knows who we are. She knows our stories. If we ran into her in a supermarket, she would know who we were. We would say, Brenda, what are you doing here? But we're not anonymous. We are not, she is not some person way out there that has a Facebook page or an Instagram page that is speaking into the void. She's speaking to us. And that's the thing that I do appreciate with the sisterhood, is that we truly are a part of that. And there are people that she might reach out to who need more help than others. But what happens is we all pile on.
Yeah, for sure. And so the community becomes even stronger for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Kelly, talk to me about the sisterhood for you.
Like Alexis, it was overwhelming at first. I don't open up very easily. I don't trust people. So I've always had that wall and that barrier. And this has given me the opportunity to learn new skills and tools to open up, in that it is okay to tell my story, how I saw it and how I felt about it or feel about it. It gave that opportunity, which was nice, because not knowing in the beginning these women, and to be able to, not instantly, but, as time went on, to be able to tell how my story is. So overcoming that overwhelmness of, like, oh my God, what are they going to think? What are they going to, feel about me? So it was very nice to overcome that. That is not what happened. They, they're very supportive, and like everybody said, it's just if something is going on, you have people that are checking in with you or seeing how you're doing. And I think the other thing I found too is, there's a lot of women that are like-minded like me. So, which I'm so sorry, ladies.
I was like waiting for it. I'm like, oh,
over your head. But I'm like, they're just as crazy as I am. So.
So I just wanted to give you a small taste of what it's like to be part of the sisterhood and realize that women of all different walks of life are here participating. This is an opportunity for you.
So know that, when you are, I want to ask you, when you are doing this path of life, doing it alone is challenging. So when are you if you look at to where you are you a wisher or a hoper? Are you looking for that magic pill just to drop in and wish that everything will go away and life will be perfect, but you're not committed, not ready to do the work? You just want the simple solution. Or are you a dabbler or a doer, do it yourselfer, dabble here, dabble there, dabble over here, and on that path of just doing it yourself, thinking that you're going to get where you want to go, but never fully committing, always letting resistance pull you back once you're offered to take that next step? Or are you in no matter what? I'm all in no matter what. The women that I have shared with you had one thing in common. Not all of them had money. In fact, 90% of them felt that they didn't have the money to put for themselves. But I'll tell you what they had. They had two things in common. They had courage. Courage means they felt the fear and did it anyway. And they made a decision. They had decided. They made a decision and decided that, you know what? I am done living the old way. I want a new way of living. I want a new way of looking at life. And then having each other to lift each other up and put each other on a I'll say in a stage of positive energy. So where are you? Are you a wisher or hoper, a dabbler and do-it-yourselfer, or I'm all in no matter what? And then I'll ask you, just like Cheryl offered, what do you get to believe? What do you get to believe to be in be all in no matter what? Because the truth is, life is now. Life is happening right now. It's not happening tomorrow. Like, life is now. And I can tell you that the world needs people to wake up. The world needs people to make bigger and more empowering decisions. If you continue to let fear run your life, you're continuing to feed into the fear. And as a collective consciousness, we have enough fear out there. So you have an opportunity to apply to Fear to Freedom. Fear to Freedom is a transformational program that helps you release fear, doubt, overwhelm, stress, to step into your power, to step into your strength, to reclaim who you are. And this is a limited time offer. And I want to just share with you again what you receive and let you know that this offer ends by Tuesday, and there is only 4 positions left, 4 spots left. The application is simply a questionnaire that you get to fill out for me to see what's going on in your life and if Fear to Freedom is the right program for you. So it's a 13-week program where we meet together for 13 weeks to do transformational work. That's we do in between. You have weekly growth work where you have different videos and different I'll say kind of processes to work through, so that when we come into a class together on the 13th in our group class, we can make rapid transformation. You have resources to utilize to reprogram your mind and your energy and your chakras. You heard about the sisterhood. There's a beautiful supported sisterhood that you get to lean into and be supported, where you're not out there doing it all on your own. You have daily support from myself and my coaches inside a group messaging chat. You have 2 live healings a month, which equals, I don't know, is that 6 to 7, depending on the way the months fall. You get certified in energy healing. So at the end of this, you have 2 certifications that allows you to help others. The total value for everything is just over $14,000. And what I'm offering you this time right now is to become part of this for only $2,300. Ask yourself, what do you get to believe in to make this possible for you? What do you get to believe in to make this possible for you? I look forward to working and to continuing our time together. And I look forward to you taking that leap of faith to have the courage to move forward. I'm excited. And yeah, any questions? I want you just to think for one moment before I end this recording is what's holding you back? What's the real reason that is holding you back? Because what happens is you've had change. You feel empowered. Things have been shifting for you. And then you get made an offer and all of a sudden you get put back into your box. Is it possible? Can I do this? You're all in, Darby. Woohoo! That's awesome. I know you are. This is amazing. And you get to think about, what do you get to believe in? What walls do you get to take down to step outside your box and move forward? What doubts do you get to get rid of? Because no matter where you are, you heard Cheryl say it, you heard Kaylee say it, fear is going to be there. Fear is going to be there. Don't let another day go by without you living your best, most authentic, happy self, whatever that looks like for you. These women that I have shared with you have changed their lives and are changing the lives of those around. And I know Sherry can agree. Sherry's been with me. She started as a client. She now works as a team member. And she's witnessed so many people expand. So your time is now. Make it happen for yourself. And I'll see you next time. Those in the VIP, which is Heather, Larissa, Darby, stay here.